Okay, good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of Peters Township Council to order for Monday, November 24th, 2025. Mr. Lauer, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Shenefeld?
Here.
Dr. Porosco?
Here.
Mr. Curry?
Here.
Mr. Steigel?
Here.
Mr. Kozer?
Here.
Mr. Lewis?
Here.
Mr. Rouse?
Here.
Okay.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first off this evening, we're going to be holding a public hearing regarding the 2026 Township Budget and Capital Improvement Program. So I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. As council is well aware, the most important exercise that we undertake each year is the development of the operating and capital improvement program, because it's through the budget that good ideas get put into action. The revenues for Peters Township are similar in terms of source, or similar to what you'd find in all municipalities in the state of Pennsylvania. In our particular case, 63% of those revenues come in the form of taxes. Of that, the two principal taxes are the property tax, which accounts for 25% of all revenues, and the earned income tax, which accounts for 30% of revenues. This year's budget is predicated on an increase in millage of 0.25 mils. This is will be the third increase in the last 30 years in the millage rate for the township. What this chart shows is what the annual cost is based upon an average assessed value home and the median assessed value home. The increase for the average home is about $87.75, which works out to about $7.31 for each month. So to kind of put this in perspective, this is a chart that shows the current millage rates for all municipalities in Washington County. As you can see, Peters Township's current millage rate is somewhere in the middle of all those municipalities. The thing to keep in mind, though, is that there is no municipality in Washington County that offers more services or offers them as robustly as Peters Township does. So even if, and I think there will be other tax increases in Washington County, but even if there were not, at 1.95, you see that the township stays in the middle and is less than Twilight Borough and slightly higher than Fallowfield Township. In terms of expenditures, what you see is what you would expect for a municipality. Essential services, public safety, including fire and police, represent the majority of the expenditures, followed by public works. And one of the things that in terms of looking at the budget, what drives it are two things. One of them is the capital improvement program in any one given year, as well as what are the personnel costs. So next year we're kind of returning back to what would be a normal year, where the largest capital expenditures are those inside the Public Works Department, and of that, $2 million of those improvements are represented by the road paving program. That public safety number includes $1,500,000 that may be necessary if in fact we transition the EMS service from the VFW to it being a service that is provided through another means. And then in the parks, the most significant expenditure there is the $1 million that's being used to renovate the soccer field. In one-time projects that are of significant nature in the Public Works Department, we have a vehicle lift that's been in that building probably for 25 or 30 years that needs to be replaced, and it's as much a safety issue as a convenience issue. In addition to that, we're going to begin the process of replacing lights along Route 19. That $400,000 cost is being offset by a $200,000 grant from the state of Pennsylvania. Excuse me. One of the things that's to happen in Washington County in next year, with its being implemented either late 2026 or early 2027, is a new emergency radio communication system for the county, which means all of the radios in the police department will need to be replaced. Our intention is to designate $450,000 that's in that equitable share account, the money that we receive from the federal government as a result of a forfeiture related to a drug case. The other that's shown there is this $1,500,000, which would may be needed if in fact we transition the EMS service. To be able to fund that particular expenditure, if we move ahead with that, we would propose going out and borrowing those funds. And then, as I had said, the large project inside of the park program is the replacement of the turf on Field 5. So, operating expenditures, for the most part, we're a service industry, and so for the most part it relates to the cost of salaries and wages. Next year we are talking about one additional position, and that position would be in the general government administration, and what we're hoping to be able to do is to hire a HR manager. As we've explained to council, it's not only the hiring and the transition of employees that is creating a tremendous amount of work. It's the managing of those of our existing employees in terms of their benefits and claims. So this was one where I think Mr. Rouse was right a year ago. We should have listened. We certainly has been proven correct in terms of being able to a need to address that particular concern. So that's a summary of the budget. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions or comments from council? Okay, turn it over to the audience. Any questions, comments? Come on up, Ron.
Welcome back. Hey, good to be here. Good to still be alive. Believe it or not, I'm going to be celebrating my 80th birthday this coming May. So I'm still here, still fighting for the right of the people. My name is Ron Books. I live at 855 Bebout Road here in Venetia. And I'm here to oppose a tax increase for one simple reason. That is, the cost to the individual homeowner may seem insignificant, but for those of us who are dependent upon fixed incomes, we're not going to appreciate its effect. I can tell you this. My own experiences are as follows. I'm going to get a big jump in my health care costs. I'm on Medicare, of course, and I do have an additional benefit, health benefit. But those costs are going to go up substantially. On top of that, I'm looking at an increase in my electrical usage, believe it or not. By that I mean we're going to have a cold winter. That's anticipated. For 1 month, comparing this month to last year at the same time, my energy costs, meaning my gas bill, doubled. So we're going to be facing a cold winter and high energy bills. At this point, I'd also like to bring up several other things, all of which relate to homeowner costs, not including rents and or taxes. But food bills, of course, the the food that we buy today is more expensive than it was a year ago. And frankly, and to be honest with you, I've got to thank the last administration, I mean the federal administration, for their efforts to seeing to it that our economy is dissolved and eaten by inflation. They did a wonderful job in the 4 years. So with that, I would tell you that I think there's enough room in our budget, in the amount of money that we absorb, to be able to better manage that, better manage the costs. And certainly some of the programs that Mr. Lauer mentioned probably could be postponed for a year. And I say that for one very specific reason. We're still under the effect of the Biden economy. We won't see the effect of the Trump economy until the second quarter of next year. That's when the tax cuts will kick in. That's when we'll begin to see some savings. But until then, we're going to be stressed. Some of us will have to borrow money in order to pay the mortgage as well as the taxes. But I'm hoping that if we can postpone the tax increase for at least a year, things in the economy will be much better. And people will be able to pay that tax increase without it representing a hardship to them. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Any other member of the? Come on.
Hi, everyone. Let me write this down. Chris Todd, 801 Ashwood Drive. Given that this is only the, third municipal tax increase in the last 20 years?
30 years.
It's
30 years.
fair to say that, this council and its predecessors have been, pretty judicious about, stewarding the community's taxpayer funds, and, I think this council and its predecessors should be commended for that in general. Presumably, as population growth has come with new development in this area, that's helped fuel the tax revenues that have helped continue to deliver the services that we have. Mm-hmm. At some point, those developments are going to diminish, and then, tax increases become more necessary. So my two concerns are really about what this gentleman addressed with regard to seniors that have maybe been here for a long time, as well as affordability of housing to be able to attract younger families that are going to keep kids in our schools. And so those are just two things. And when you look at the portion of the municipal tax bill of your total property tax bill, it's, pretty incomparable to the piece that's related to school district and county. But, I don't know if you have demographics that would show, how many long-term residents have been here for 20, 30 years and age ranges and stuff. But, if there's, any potential for consideration about, rebates or the availability of means to help our senior citizens that, this small municipal tax increase might impact, maybe that should be a consideration. But, again, I recognize that the school district portion and the county district portion are much more impactful just because of their totality. Mr. Lau, I do have one question related to page 11 from the packet. Was this available online?
Yes.
I couldn't find this in the docket, so
Yes.
maybe I wasn't looking in the right place. But so the top chart is showing revenues and expenditures for 2025, and presumably this is estimated for end of year at 30 million and 35 million respectively. My memory is that the budget for this year was something akin to 30 and 43.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Did we spend
No.
8.5 million less than what is forecasted here for year end?
And I don't have the budget in front of me. We have spent less than what was in the budget, but I don't know it's as dramatic as what you're suggesting. Part of it is the Aqua Park was intended to be complete this year, and it's not. And so there's $500,000 there that is being carried over. There are vehicles that are, that were purchased, and they're just now being upfitted. So there are things like that. But the other thing that happened this year, and it's true in the Public Works Department in particular, we've been without between 2 and 3 people in that department either off as a result of injury or long-term illness. And those wages don't show here.
Okay.
Because they're
But
being paid out in benefits.
Still, in totality, that's not 8.5 million off of projected expenditure. So I don't know, this might be net of grant money received or something like
Oh,
that?
no,
or-
this is revenues taken in expenditures. So.
Okay. All right, and, you see, again, for 2026, there's an apparent running deficit of about 7 million, which will be funded
Well-
via either bond issuance or from,
Well, there's $2 million in state grants that we're anticipating receiving, which would increase the cash balance inside the capital projects fund, and that will be spent down next year. There's $1.5 million that's intended to be borrowed if in fact we move ahead in a certain direction with regard to the EMS service. The monies inside the equitable share fund, which is about $1.8 million, I think it's $1.8 million for next year, will be paying down the balance in that fund. That we received a large amount from the federal government in forfeitures as a result of a drug case. That money's not being replenished; it's being spent down. So one of the things that council's kind of directed, and I think it's working to the township's benefit, is things like those radios. That $450,000 would be coming out of tax dollars if it wasn't for that money. Same thing with car purchases. We have 3 cars that are being purchased utilizing those funds. So instead of those being spent down with tax dollars, that money's being used. One of the concerns I have for the long run is eventually that money's going to run out, and those expenditures are going to show back up in the general fund. So
What's the total the total amount that's going to be spent of the equitable share money this year?
hold
Or
on
in
one second.
2026?
Let me just get. Next year, we will spend down $1,433,600 out of equitable share.
okay, so you're pretty confident about the 35 million expenditure for this year when the plan was somewhere in the range of 43.5? So-
I'm confident that with that number that's there right now.
Okay, we're close to year end, so it should be pretty tight by now. So I guess last question is, at one of the budget planning meetings, there was at least a discussion of whether 2.5 mils was enough for next year to prevent you from having to do another, rapid fire increase.
well,
So was there any discussion about that?
Yes.
So,
I think 0.25 mils is sufficient for now and into the foreseeable future. My only hesitation is just the same kind of things that we're all experiencing with our own budgets at home are impacting the municipality as well. And so we don't necessarily are able to control all things in the economy, and so we have to react to that. So I don't anticipate that for the near future. I also don't know what council may or may not want to be doing in terms of projects, and that has an impact on things.
I think and for the public that's out here, one of the biggest issues that we have out here in a cloud is the ambulance service replacement.
right.
For those
Could
that
you
wouldn't
speak
be.
up? Can't hear you.
For those people that aren't familiar with it, is VFW is asked them, they're asked to be out of that process, and we're either looking at developing it in-house with a group or a third-party contractor, and those arrangements, we're gonna hear more about next week in the workshop that we have, but that's a huge unknown in my mind.
And that's outside the scope of what's on paper here at this
Well,
time, right?
we've funded it to the point that it seems like a reasonable role
Yeah.
at this point in time?
I think there's $1.5 million.
$1.5 million, and what that represents is the value of the assets that are currently owned by the VFW.
Right.
So if we were to be required to acquire all of those assets, that's the kind of expenditure we'd be looking at. It has nothing to do with the operating expenditures of the ambulance service.
Like she talked about AGH taking over operations and we would own the assets or something. I think that's what it was.
And again, we're going to talk about this. We have proposals in from Ambulance and Chair and AHN. Both of them are interested in acquiring the assets in terms of the vehicles and the equipment. In briefly reviewing those proposals, I think one of those organizations is prepared to be able to stroke that check right away. I think the other may need some help, so.
Okay.
But for the public, I think the opinion of this council has been that we don't want to compromise a service that we've afforded to the public. And in a diminished role of a third party conducting that may be more difficult to manage.
Fair enough.
So,
Okay, thanks, council.
Yeah, Paul, last year, you recommended a tax increase to council. I agreed with you at the time. What was the millage you were proposing last year?
It would have been a similar number. It would have been somewhere
So-
between 0.2 and 0.3.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if it was the same number, then I think I agree with you. It's probably not enough. So,
good evening.
Ann Shaner, SHANER, 123 Robin Hood Lane, McMurray. I just want to say that, I was not, if you discussed this at the last meeting, part of it, I was not here because I hit a deer. I didn't have a vehicle. But anyway, my concern is, as usual, okay, because I think if this has not occurred for 30 years, as you said, Mr. Lauer, then yeah, sure, we need a tax increase. I disagree with Mr. Brooks. Our current administration is hammering us with tariffs and all that good stuff, so I'd like to know what benefits he's going to get from tax cuts. But I want to say that my complaint is always that we have no affordable housing in this township. I have been mocked in this room saying that we cannot have any affordable housing built in this township. But I think what we're going to end up with is an empty school, and I'm going to be able to drive up on Bebout Road and do tours, okay, of all the big empty mansions up there. Because the day's going to come when, after those people die, nobody's going to be able to live in those houses, okay? Unless you have football players buying them up. So my thing is, I support the tax increase, but I agree with Mr. Todd, now Mr. Perosco, I don't think it's enough. Because you said at the meeting before I hit the deer that we probably are going to have to raise them again. You said that. I remember you
Oh, I
said
think some point in the
Yeah.
future. I think one of the challenges is, and this is one of the things we're discussing in the development of the comprehensive plan. The fact of the matter is, Peters Township slowly but surely is beginning to, the vacant land is beginning to disappear. And so once that happens, you find yourself in the same situation that Bethel Park and Upper St. Clair, our neighbors to the north, find themselves. And the only way to increase revenues to the municipality is through tax increases. So do I think in the future there'll be tax increases? Yes, but I personally think the 0.25 is sufficient. If it wasn't, I would have recommended something higher. The other thing is, I'm always been of the opinion that people's money's better in their own pocket than having large cash balances for the municipality. So does it make my job easier if the tax increase is higher? I think it makes Tracy's job easier, makes my job easier.
Oh, I should think too, if you did make it a little higher, then we could all leave vacuuming. We would be able to afford it, because I am a proponent of that. Okay.
Thank you.
I didn't realize you were left-handed. I have not been very observant.
Am I supposed to write my name on here?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Hi, my name is Maura Kelly. I've lived in the township for about 20 years now, and I've served as president of our library foundation for about half of those years. So when we moved to the township in 2004, like many young families, we considered commute, community, investment, school system, and for us, a good library kind of sealed the deal for us. We had moved from a community in northeastern Ohio with a very strong library. I'm here today representing the foundation. We believe that our library is a vital asset for our community. We know it's important to young families in this community. We partnered with council and with the township for a space redesign consultant team who recommended some improvements on the physical space of the library to make it even better than it already is, to better serve us currently and into the future. And it's my understanding that at this point in time, the architectural plans are not part of the capital budget. So if you recall, earlier this year, the foundation had pre-committed $150,000 towards the actual construction of the redesign plan. A couple days ago, maybe 10 days ago, our foundation voted to spin off some of that $150,000, hoping that we could partner with the township, that we could put $75,000 towards the architectural plans that would make this plan a reality, and that if council agreed to fund up to $75,000 towards those architectural plans. What those architectural plans would allow us to do is to move forward with the project. We are a board of 13 members currently who donate hundreds, maybe thousands of hours towards our library. We represent donors who care very much about the library, who augment the library's normal operating budget, and we're uniquely positioned as a 501c3 to seek grants that a normal municipality does not have access to because we're a nonprofit. We want to get started. Our volunteer board wants to partner with the library to start talking about those grants, to start securing donors. We know donors donate to success, and our library is one of the best in the state. I would argue the best in our region of the state. So what we're asking you today is to reconsider partnering with the foundation to split that $150,000 for the architectural plans so we can move forward. We're very excited to move forward. We know we have donors who want to donate to a project like this, and so we're asking you to consider that to better serve the young families in this township. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, what's the 1.3 million under the library fund? What's that allocated for?
That's for the
On page
operation of the
48?
That's for the operation of the library.
That's just for the operation, so it has nothing to do with any of those changes. And the revenues, is that accurate, that it brings in $167,000?
Yeah, and if you look down below, it's always been funded with a transfer from the general fund. So there's $1 million, I think, that's next year intended.
Okay.
You know, I think the issue when we discussed the library renovations going forward wasn't so much the $150,000 up front. It was when we looked at the potential cost of actually doing the modifications, and it's not going to happen.
Well-
So we can't see spending the money on it when.
I don't remember what that number was.
Execute, but we're willing to spend $1 million. Sorry.
So we've already partnered for the consultant to redesign the space, but then it's our belief that most of that project will be funded through grants. We're just asking to get going on the project. So.
Okay, thank you.
you have a comment? You gotta come up, you gotta come up. To
Absolutely.
The recorder.
Matt Siconolfi, 630 Bower Hill Road. Say again. Siconolfi. Yeah, thank you. And just in my, I'm part of the foundation board as well, and certainly want to be here to represent the library. I have young children in the township. I moved back to the township for partly that reason as well. My kids are athletes. They play on the fields. Again, I'm new to the process in terms of the meetings, but just my brief interaction with even dollars being spent towards the athletic fields versus resources that are going to advance our children. Certainly want to push for funding the library projects more than the athletic fields that we have. I think our facilities are darn pretty good in the athletic area, but the library certainly continue to use updated involvement and help. So thank you.
Can you write your name and
My name?
your name? Can you write it
Yeah,
down and your
absolutely.
address on that? slip?
Did you write your name, Mr. Books? No, okay. We know where you live.
That's
And can you finish what you were saying at the end? You cut
Yeah,
out.
I just, apologies. Yeah, I think it was more about the, current conditions of athletic fields. I think we're, I'm not suggesting things can't be improved always, but just comparison to some of the, I go to a lot of the fields across the region. I particularly don't see an issue with what we have, and quite frankly, even the ball fields that were done, last year. But I get it. There's probably other reasons I'm not aware of. But just looking at the interactions I have with the township and being a lot involved in a lot of the events locally, there's a lot of people again asking for the resources to be focused on the library and things that again are going to advance our children versus some of the athletic sporting areas that we're focused on. So, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the audience? Anything else?
Mr.
Council?
Chairman, I'll move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, motion to second to close the hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, meeting's closed. Thank you very much. And we'll move into the regular portion of the meeting. First up, we'll need approval of the minutes from November 10th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to second to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries 7-0. No special reports. We'll move into audience comments. This is an opportunity for a member of the audience to comment on a non-agenda item for up to 5 minutes. Mrs. Shaner.
I am in the process of painting the sign, okay, coming from North Strabane into Peters, before you go up into Ace.
Yeah, on the right.
Okay, that's
there,
our beautification site. Want you all to know that I'm painting that sign. I am saving the township money, okay? I'm painting the letters. You can't see Peters Township, so I have Mr. Lauer told me I could do it, so I bought some paint, and I'm doing a good job. I just want you to know, I'm doing my part to save the township some money.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay?
Appreciate it.
You're not doing graffiti out there.
I should, because someone stole the sign, okay? So I want the sign back.
Anybody else from the audience want to address council?
Now, Ms. Shaner, you are painting the letters red, right?
I am.
Not painting them blue, right?
I'm not painting them blue.
Okay.
They are red. I'm doing local too. I bought the paint at Ace. I bought some brushes, so.
Okay. There's nothing under unfinished business. We'll move into new business. The first will be first item will be a resignation from the library board.
I make a motion that we accept Yvonne Weaver's resignation from the library board. Thank her for her service.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to accept the resignation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 7-0. Next up will be a request to rezone 947 Bebout Road.
So where the indicator is, that is 947 Bebout Road. It is owned by the same people who own Confluence Financial Partners. There was a home on that site. They have demolished that home. What they're doing now is asking whether council would consider at this time rezoning that property to a mixed-use activity center, which is what Confluence Financial Partners properties currently zoned. The steering committee for the comprehensive land use plan discussed this request at their last meeting, and it's their opinion, and it's one that I would agree with, that consideration of future land uses is fundamental to the comprehensive land use process, and any question about rezoning this property or any other property while that process is moving forward, it makes more sense to do that within the confines of the comprehensive land use plan. So, it's their recommendation that council not consider rezoning that property this time. Rezoning a property is something that council has complete discretion over. No one has a right to a hearing on for a rezoning request. So I know there's somebody in the audience representing the property owner. There may be somebody in the audience with regard to the neighbors as well.
Paul, how long does that process take?
The comprehensive land use plan, I would assume by the spring of next year at the latest, May or June, would be complete.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Aaron McDonough. I'm actually a resident at 103 Lexington Drive, but I'm here in my capacity as counsel to Confluence Financial Partners, as Mr. Lauer very capably explained. The owner of Confluence Financial Partners would like to rezone the contiguous parcel next to it to mixed-use activity center. Excuse me. Ideally, he would like to have a no greater than 4,500 square foot office building constructed on the residence. A lot of the discussion tonight has been about modest ways to expand the tax base. I think this would be a good project that would help accomplish that end. And due to the recent development of Bebout Road, the expansion that was facilitated by PennDOT, it really wouldn't create too much congestion. Based on an engineer's report determining the traffic impact of this, it determined that a office building about the size of 4,500 square feet would have no greater traffic impact than the highest use that would be available under the LD district, which is what is currently zoned at, which is a small daycare facility. So by constructing this relatively small office building on this parcel, we would expand the tax base. We would not meaningfully increase traffic. So I think it would help accomplish multiple ends with a pretty simple act here.
Probably putting the cart before the horse, but if this were granted and that building was built, are you envisioning another driveway out onto Bebout, or you're envisioning using the existing driveways?
That is something I've spoken to the owner about. He doesn't feel strongly about either one. If the council wanted to condition it upon expanding the current entryway, I'm sure that's something that could be agreed upon.
My only recollections are all of the neighbors, or at least one of the neighbors' objections that were posed when the initial building was constructed, so.
I think that individual's not there anymore. If I remember correctly, that was the first house on East McMurray below, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, down
And
here.
they had to turn the building around, right? Because wasn't his complaint, he was concerned that people from the building were going to watch his kids sunbathe in the backyard or something like that?
From the balcony.
From the balcony, right? That's why the building got flipped around.
Okay, well.
If there are no further questions, I'll sit down. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
What say do the residents have in this?
If it was to be considered, because the question only tonight is, do you want to move ahead with the process? So the process would involve a public hearing. Everyone within at least 600 feet of that property would be notified and given a chance to speak at a public hearing. And that would be a recommendation that would also come from the Planning Commission to council, so.
And Paul, what's it zoned right now?
It's zoned low density. So what was on that site was a single-family home. The only thing that I would probably disagree with, if that single-family home was there, trust me, the traffic out of that single-family home is a lot less than a 4,500 square foot building. And where you're correct that you could have a small daycare center there, that's likely not the use. So, with those kind of things would be discussed if in fact it was considered for.
Would it expand the tax base for a business there versus a single-family home?
If you're gonna speak, you have to come up to the microphone. For no other reason, they can't hear it.
Yes.
But the answer is, a building of that size, a commercial building, would be worth more than a home probably that would be built on that site.
But this council has also taken a very strong position relative to rezoning properties. And it's been a very conservative process that, since I've been here, has been dealt with. So that's a hurdle that's out there that is a tradition.
Yeah, I think this intersection, so considerably changed, obviously, and it can handle this traffic. The current Amico station there, there's gonna be, there's right across cat a corner there. What's the zoning around that structure? Because they're looking to make that larger and expand there.
And it's,
Is that still up?
oh, that's gonna happen. The other thing is, and again, I think this lends itself going back to the comprehensive land use steering committee. Above this on East McMurray Road, if you're familiar where Big G Tire is, he's asking for consideration for that to be rezoned. And when you start to look what's around it with Cohen Market, there's an office building, there's the Goddard School. It may make sense to have some type of other zoning district in there, but I think that all should be looked at comprehensively as opposed to singling out any one of these sites.
Yeah, so my question, that property that was behind Amico, that nothing was there, what is that zoned as?
It's zone, I think it's zoned mixed use.
Okay.
But I'm gonna have to check on that, Dr. Peruck.
But
But
I guess-
Cohen Market Building is gonna push back in that direction,
Right.
so it must be.
It had to be, wasn't
Yeah,
the
there was
guy
a-
gonna, he put that
Yeah,
plan in, he
yeah,
was gonna
Mr.
build
Lawadi was going to put an office building in on that
or
site.
something, yeah.
My whole point is, it's not that unreasonable, to look at this and say it's as similar to what's going on right across the street.
Unless you're the guy that lives in the next house,
Well,
down,
that's
bought a
a-
house that was bordering a residential
Very,
property.
very true.
That's what that would be my concern, is that, if we turn this over to be part of that comprehensive land use steering committee, and we have public hearings, and, a lot of these people come in and complain, and they override that, then what are we stuck as council in either shooting the entire comprehensive plan down?
Well,
or-
no, the comprehensive plan is something you have to approve, and it's subject to amendment based on whatever that final draft that comes out of the
Okay,
committees.
so we will have input in there.
Oh, absolutely. The other thing is, just because the future land use map shows that, if a change was proposed, doesn't necessarily mean that council has to approve that, although your zoning ordinance is required to be somewhat consistent with the comprehensive land use plan.
I think it would generate more tax dollars, but on the other hand, it's gonna generate more traffic and lighting
I think it will.
issues and all of that. And that's the last thing that we need, to be honest with you.
Although the question becomes, when you have the new Amico across the street, that's gonna generate a lot more traffic, a lot more.
Well, then you're gonna add that with
Well,
it.
yeah, but the intersection was designed to take that on, right?
Oh, yeah,
In theory.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't care, whatever you guys wanna do, that's fine.
Quick question, what is the building going to look like?
It's way before that question could be answered.
I'm sure
But
they
I
haven't
would
spent
assume
that
it would
money
look
yet.
similar to what Confluence Financial Partners building looks like,
As long as
which
it
is an
doesn't look
attractive
like the
building.
old lady's shoe from the store. Be fine.
Yeah, but that's a very attractive building.
Oh, do you need a motion on this or just a consensus?
All I need, I think you do, I think what you want to do is give us direction as to whether or not this should be considered as part of the comprehensive land use plan, or whether you want to consider it separately and do that now.
I don't want to do it separate.
You want to do it separate?
I do not want to do it.
I don't either. I mean, I think that they have to take into consideration all that other development and all those other requests for development and rezoning. It makes more sense, because then they would be able to look at the impacts of traffic and whatever variables there would be associated with that rezoning.
So is that a motion?
No, I'm just saying.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna come up. I have no skin in this game, but the slippery slope here, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but the slippery slope here is a business buys a residential property next to them, raises the house, and then says, looks, nothing's there, I can raise your tax revenue by buying the property next door to it. I'm not saying that's what happened here, I have no idea, but that just feels like a very slippery slope to me for the future going on.
And you're right, Mr. Todd, because what stops somebody from buying the next house, the
Well,
next
yeah,
house, the next
this
house
is a
down?
92-year-old gentleman that lives right there, so, hey, he's moving out, let's, buy his and make another one.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, is he going to be able to get less money for his house because
There's a
you
business
got,
next
you
door.
got these two big things there?
Well, that's exactly what happened, all those houses along East McMurray, from the crossroads over to the
Yeah.
middle school. I mean,
Yeah.
as the residents
Yeah.
died out, people bought them, and then we eventually rezoned it, now it's the commercial district.
I don't know, I don't know what you guys want to do. I really don't care one way or the other. If you want to hear it individually, I have no problem with that either.
I mean, I'm fine with it either way. I'm not gonna make a motion since I'm on the comprehensive plan committee. I don't wanna make it look like I'm trying to steer work there, so.
Are you abstaining then?
I'm gonna abstain from it, yep.
Tom, are you
You get another abstention over here because I also am a participant.
gonna? We have only 4 that are voting.
The reason they made there's no application.
I don't care.
Does somebody want to make a motion of the
I'll
4
make
of
a
us?
motion that we refer it to the steering committee for input and evaluation.
Okay, and I'll second that. Can we get a roll call on this one, I think?
Sure.
Well, let me ask first, Mr. Smith, do you feel that Mr. Lewis and I should recuse ourselves since we're on the steering committee?
Honestly, I don't think so. I mean, because I get what you're saying. I don't think you're prejudging this. I think you're just saying, there's no application before you. So there's nothing for you to vote on. There's no zoning change. Someone's just kind of putting this out there that they may want to do it. Paul's direction is, where do you want it to start? Do you want it to start through the regular process or through the committee? So I don't think you need to abstain in your rules.
Yeah, because this is only a question of process. It's not a question
Yeah.
of use. I mean, it's.
I mean, I understand if you want to, but I don't think you have
I don't know
to.
if we don't have to.
Okay, so the motion on the floor then is to send it to the steering committee.
Mr. Roust.
Approved, good.
What's that?
That's fine.
Mr. Lewis.
Abstain.
Mr. Kozer.
Aye.
Mr. Curry.
Aye.
Mr. Porosco.
I abstain.
Mr. Shanafel. Ms. Shanafel.
Aye.
Mr. Stichel.
Aye. Let's remove that to the steering committee. Last item under new business is an ordinance establishing the 2026 Peters Township pay plan.
So, one of the things that we review annually is the pay plan for all employees. This does not have any impact on any individual's salary, but it provides the basis upon which salaries are considered on a individual basis. So, what's being proposed this year is a 3% increase in the amount shown on the pay plan, and that the 3% also be used as the standard increase for employees this year.
Anybody want to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 916, which includes a 3% increase in the rates contained in the pay plan. And also that the standard wage increases in 2026 be capped at 3%.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 7-0. Mr. Kozer, payroll and bills.
Mr. Chairman, I have reviewed the payroll and bills. I find them to be in order. I move they be approved as submitted.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to pay the bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0 there. Let's see, anything under correspondence, reports, is there anything anybody would like to discuss on them?
There was something I had, but I don't remember what it was. I'll figure it out. I can just ask after the meeting.
All right, miscellaneous, King Richard Drive.
So this is a question we wanted to pose to council before we moved ahead with this. We got a complaint from an individual living on King Richard Drive. As you can see, this is a split street. Those cartways are only 13 feet wide. Occasionally, people exit their driveway and head in what seems to be the opposite direction that traffic would normally flow. And this is.
It's always been a two-way direction.
Right.
Oh, it has been two ways. The question is, would council consider making it a one-way street? You have a recommendation from the traffic engineer suggesting that that's appropriate, and from a safety standpoint, you have the same thing from the chief of police. So the question to council is, are you willing to entertain that? Because if we're going to do it, our intention would be to send out letters to everyone along King Richard Drive to get their input.
And you'll have every one of them here.
Yeah, how many accidents have we had there?
I think there's only been 2 accidents in the last few years. Both of those are people backing out of their driveway.
So it's really
It's a
not
non-issue.
It's exactly right.
You're
It's a
gonna do that on
non-issue.
Druid Drive as well,
Well,
right? It's the,
it's the same problem, yeah. The thing about King Richard, it's a little bit different. I'm not sure about Druid. We have other split streets, but on this section, all of the driveways come in at a 90-degree angle, so making a one-way street isn't hard to do. On some of the other streets, driveways were allowed to come in at an inappropriate angle, which would make one-way streets nearly
I've
impossible.
always treated them as one way anytime I've gone through there. Huh, I never knew that. I'll have to try going the opposite direction next time. Well, the
And
difference
you could be
with-
that first accident.
Right. I mean, the difference with Druid, though, is you out in Druid, you also have that area up in the top where you can cross over.
Right, so, yeah, I was under the same impression that they were always one way.
Me
so-
too.
So we're talking about then
Signing it,
putting it into
yeah.
stone, that that's gonna be
Okay.
one way.
I mean, to me, it's a non-issue because it doesn't seem that there's an issue with accidents out there. Miss Shaner, you live there. Have you ever seen an issue there?
No, I mean, hey, I thought it was one way.
We all
I thought it was one way. I've
Yeah, but
never
it-
seen
okay, but-
anybody, I've never seen anybody come down that, I mean, I'd like to talk to that woman, okay?
why are we changing?
I've never seen
Where
anybody.
where we
I
get
mean,
the issue is the people that live close on either end.
Right.
And they don't want to make the,
They don't want to make.
Three
Well,
hundred-
you know
360
what,
degree.
it's just like having a
And don't
tower.
eye
You
your
move
house
into a
then.
neighborhood where there's a tower and now you're gonna complain about it. You know, come on. It's the same thing. They moved in there, they know what the road is. It's like, you know,
I think
what
it's
you
fine
see
to
is
leave
what
as
you're
is.
getting.
Yeah.
Come
Didn't
on.
we
I
have
think-
this issue a couple of years
Yes.
ago?
In
on-
Crossgates, wasn't
The one across Reed Park, what's that?
Yeah, Crossgates.
Yeah, and we just left it alone, right?
No, we actually put signs up
Signs
then
up.
that said both sides are two-way traffic,
Yeah.
which I think is even more confusing the way we did that.
So it's
You
still
come to-
two-way, we just
Right,
put signs
put a
up.
sign there.
Well,
that
we
says
left it the
two-way
way it
traffic
was.
both ways. Which I don't think we should do here, since apparently 99% of the population, for those of us who live in the township our whole lives and been driving through there for 40 years, all thought that it was one way each way. I mean, that's basic when you get in, when they teach you how to drive, right? I mean, you know, if the road's split one
I
way.
mean, people even walk their dogs as it's
That's
one
right,
way.
exactly.
So my sense of council is you don't want to do anything with this.
Right, no. No, but I do want to, before you move on, and Mr. Lewis may know about this, right where Robin Hood Lane comes up to Fawn Valley, on the upper side of Fawn Valley. Someone, is it fixed? Because someone went out there with spray paint and spray painted, please fix this road. Is it fixed? Okay.
What did,
Wait, the road's fixed?
what did they do?
Yeah, somebody went out there with spray paint and actually put around the potholes, please fix this road.
I thought it was the road department.
No, it wasn't us.
Got the job done.
It was Annie, she had that paint on. She had
No,
some, she had some extra paint left over from the
Yeah,
sign.
if it wasn't red,
Wasn't red paint, okay.
I have red.
You skated this time, Annie.
I just want to point out to council, you know, one of the things we do this time of year is survey board members to find out who would like to seek reappointment. On on the library board, the library board can have between 5 and 9 members. So right now, they're down to, at the end of the year, they'll be down to 4 members. So you'll be either able to appoint 1 or up to 5 new members. And speaking with Lacey, her preference would be that the board be about 7 because she thinks it's more manageable and creates a more meaningful experience. But we have over 20 applicants for the library board right now.
Wow.
So one of my questions, and I need you to think about, is how do we get that down to a manageable number? Because you can't interview 20 people. That's just an impossibility. But as you can see, there's a number of vacancies that need to be filled next year. And I'm assuming, since we have 2 new councilmen, that you want to do these in
January.
in 2026?
Yep.
So, and then we'll be giving you the list of people whose terms are expiring so that you can give us some direction as to whether people are being reappointed, so. The last thing I wanted to talk about, you have a packet that I put in there tonight. It's an agenda for next Monday's meeting. Having talked with Mr. Steigel, the intention is to have a workshop meeting, and as you well know, on our workshop meetings, it does not provide for citizen input. I believe we may well have people here to speak to this issue with regard to the ambulance service. And so what I'm suggesting is, and what Mr. Steigel is suggesting, is that we have a special meeting afterwards, which allows council to sit as you do now and to take comments, and if you wanted to actually make decisions and give direction. And that way, if people do show up, there'll be an opportunity for them to speak.
And that's been advertised then? So
It's
we
been
can-
advertised.
We can vote at the end of it?
Yeah, we
if
can.
need to, if we want to.
And you will have presentation at 7:45 from Ambulance and Chair, and at 8:15 from Allegheny Health Network, so.
And you've invited the council-elect members?
I've invited the 2 new members of council. I am meeting tomorrow night along with the commander from the VFW and Tom McMurray, the director for the ambulance service, with the employees of the ambulance service, so that they have an understanding about what's going on, so. Okay.
Hey, Paul, I just remembered what question I had, and it was on the, sorry, but.
What's the subject matter?
It was on the planning thing, and there's these permit detail reports, and then they'll have like a project, and then there's a estimated cost, and I guess the permit fee is based on the estimated cost.
Yes.
Who estimates the costs?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know whether you know this, Gary? Bob, did you tell me?
Typically, it's the applicant. If it is a new home,
Yeah.
it's based off the square footage, and that would be calculated by the building inspector or the building official.
So somebody from our side will like look at the reasonableness of that number?
Yes.
Because, I mean, I'm looking on here, and there's like, I'm trying to think, there's a couple here. Miranda Homes has one, single-family home. They have the estimated cost at $470,000.
Well, that's cost of construction. That isn't necessarily.
Well, I understand that,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's like, if you get to pick the number, I mean.
Well, but see, on residential, and I think what Garrett's saying is, there's actually a formula for this 1 square feet. to be able to come up with.
I just had a question, that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And one of the things that we will be looking at are those fees, as well as all other fees that are charged by the township. We do that every couple of years, and this is our year to take a look at that, so that'll be part of a December meeting.
Well,
Gary, I have a miscellaneous question when Mr. Lauer is free. Relative to cellular coverage and the potential of expanded broadcast capacities, any updates here with regard to?
Not really. I mean, the ball's actually in our court. For that to occur, we need a zoning change, and quite honestly, the planning department has been so overwhelmed between the comprehensive land use plan, and that's one of the places that needs to be considered. There's a new permitting software that's being instituted. In fact, it just rolled out last week. And we got behind when we were short the assistant planner. So that's still sitting out there. I got a call just today from Verizon asking what the status of that site is. So it's on the list, but it hasn't moved to the top of the list yet.
And this is our young addition as the assistant planner, is that right?
Yes.
Correct.
We met him last.
And you'll be happy, he's a Penn State graduate. So.
I understood that.
Do you have an update on the Druid Drive tower?
We haven't got notice of when the specific time they're gonna start, but the last we talked to them, that project isn't starting to January or February.
Paul, in the roundabout, 2 light poles obviously have been damaged. I get to see them several times a day damaged.
Yeah, and this is gonna be hard for you to believe.
I
were
know
in
we
con-
can't do anything about it.
Well, we were in contact with PennDOT because PennDOT is responsible for those poles. They have told us not to expect them to be replaced until March of next year, which is mind-boggling.
Can we just fix them ourselves and send them the bill?
What's that?
Fix them ourselves and send them the bill. I know we can't do that, that's fine. When's the Christmas tree?
Yeah, I was gonna
go
say the tree.
around?
We're out, if you haven't noticed, we're out doing Christmas decorations early this week, so the Christmas tree's probably tomorrow, I would think.
There you go.
Any items for the next agenda? Okay. Seeing none, we'll adjourn. Do we have an executive session?
Yes.